They exited the Bedford Avenue stop onto a tree-lined street of low-rise buildings and down-at-heel storefronts. Michael looked around, nodded to a man at the other side of the street, standing under an awning, pacing about in the cold to keep himself warm. They crossed, and Michael introduced her to Gabriel Levison. He was good-looking in a ruffled, scruffy way.
"Mr. Levison," she said.
"Gabriel, please," he replied. "Or Gabby, if you want. Shall we?" He gestured to the road behind him, which led back towards the docks. They turned and walked. "After you called me yesterday," said Gabriel, "I spoke to some friends. They said the murder victim had a brother-in-law called Vinnie Ferrara, who we could talk to. They told me where he worked on the docks. They said he's hard up. I figure if we offer him some money, he might talk. Tell us what the murder victim was up to."
Ida nodded.
He turned it around quick, making her wonder why he was in such a rush, and who these friends were he could get the information from so quickly.
"You told Michael you thought Vito Genovese might be behind everything?" she said.
She wanted to square their own theory about Congressman Helms being behind the murders with Gabriel's angle on Genovese, wanted to make sure she and Michael weren't wrong about the whole thing. "Like I told Michael," Gabriel said, "Genovese was over in Naples during the war. He'd run away there back in the 30s to escape a murder warrant here in New York. He got in with Mussolini. Then when we invaded, he switched sides. Got a job as a fixer for the army. Used the job to siphon army goods out of Allied bases to his contacts in the Camorra. Eventually, someone realized he had an outstanding warrant back here and he was extradited. All the witnesses in the trial disappeared or died or changed their stories, so he was freed. I was thinking maybe all these deaths are linked to that black market scam he had going on."
Ida thought. A black market operation.
She tried to slot it in with what they already knew. Maybe Helms was involved in the black market operation too. Had been inveigled into it somehow. Cleveland knew him as a racketeer out in Naples. Then he bumped into him at a party in New York and realized he could blackmail him over it. Had some evidence he could use to squeeze him. She looked at Michael to see if he was thinking along the same lines. He gave her a nod, but she could see he was still distracted, still mulling over Tom's refusal to see him at the prison that morning.
"Makes sense," she said, turning back to Gabriel. "Cleveland was in a colored platoon. They weren't allowed to fight, so got given quartermaster duties in the docks, in charge of supplies and warehouses. Maybe Cleveland, Buchek, and Marino were all working for Genovese's black market operation out there."
"Maybe Farron too," said Gabriel. "We just need to figure out why Farron and Genovese have started going around trying to kill the people involved in it."
Ida nodded,
stayed silent. She and Michael had agreed not to reveal what they knew about Congressman Helms till they could trust Gabriel more. As they walked, the sounds of the docks grew even louder. Then, after a few blocks, the buildings petered out, gave way to a sprawling industrial site, ringed by a set of long barbed wire fences on which there was affixed a rusting white sign, "The Brooklyn Eastern District Rail Maritime Terminal." There were 2 gates in the fence, one through which railroad tracks passed, and another for cars and pedestrians, where 2 men in lumberjack shirts stood sentry. "Here to see Nicky Impellizzeri?" Gabriel said to them.
"Who's asking?"
"Gabriel Levison." The sentries shared a look, opened up the gate. Gabriel held up a hand to let Ida and Michael enter first. They stepped into a vast concrete enclosure which was crisscrossed with train tracks, heading towards a row of giant hangar-like buildings which lined the waterfront. They walked to the second one along. Its gates were open. Trains were moving up the tracks to its interior, where armies of stevedores were loading them with cargo from the freighters which floated on the sparkling river beyond. Inside the hangar, Ida could see cranes, cargo stacks, lines of trucks, seagulls swooping about, all in the shadows beneath the structure's colossal walls.